Okay, so everything should be up and running. Welcome to Swan Song GM Prep. Just a warning for anyone who's also watching this show. This is going to be pretty spoiler heavy. You may not even want to look at your screen right now. Sorry. So the stream I'm going to be running for as long as it takes for me to get all this stuff up and running, and basically, I'll walk you guys through what I do between sessions of Swansong. Stars Without Number has this really cool GM like mini game called the Faction Turn, and I have a set of basically my own characters. They're the big movers and shakers of the system. And for me, the GM turn, the Faction Turn, is pitting them against each other to generate kind of a living universe, right? Like if one or the other faction just sort of stayed the same, and the only time anything ever happened was when the players interacted with it, then it wouldn't be very interesting, would it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to today walk you guys through building the factions. I've got some factions. I've got 9 that I'd like to start with. I'm going to walk through creating them. So there's a little bit of character creation going into this, and then there's also the first faction turn. So we'll talk through that a little bit as well. I'll probably take a break partway through just to grab a drink. We'll see how long this is going to take. But again, thanks for coming. I'm really glad you're all here. Don't feel guilty if you have to alt tab between me and the World Cup. I understand. So let's get started. I'm gonna have some time along the way for questions too. I won't be able to keep an eye on the chat exactly, but you know, if you have questions, feel free to punch them in when I get to that point. So first of all, I had to decide what elements, what organizations in the game I would use as factions. So you can see I've got a little text guy here. Um, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with those factions today, and we'll build from there. So I've got the Sunbeam Multistellar Corporation. So if you remember the last session of Swan Song, Sunbeam is the company that owns the Swan Song. That's basically the PCs are paying them to keep their ship. So I got them. I've got a group called the Madari Syndicate. They're a faction you haven't seen yet, but we will. The Fotenhauer Society, same thing. Richardson Scientific Society. Now here's our first spoiler. These guys are part of what's going on Andoni. They're also connected to Dr. Seckler. If you remember, she's the one that put the PCs on their first mission. So Richardson Scientific Society, Zimenez Shipyards. They're also connected to the situation on Andoni. They paid for the fleet. The Majidi Mandarinate, which is the group that you maybe will remember very vaguely that Wheat's character, Piani, mentioned them. So they're going to be part of the game. We've got the royal family of Oninsa. They're going to be part of the game as well. Mostly important because Jeff's character is from there. The Andonian Cultural Protectorate. These are the sort of crypto fascists that run the planet of Andoni. And then a new group that I'm going to be introducing is the New Prophet Christian Movement. So they're they're an organization that we'll have coming up. So I'm gonna just minimize this little guy out of the way, and let's take a look at what a faction is. So you can see on my left screen here, I've got a PDF of all of my faction files. So a faction is made up of a bunch of different stats. They're just like mini character sheets for each faction. So the faction file contains the name of the faction. It's got the homeworld that the faction operates from. It's got the force, cunning, and wealth. These are the stats of the faction. Factions have hit points, which represent their cohesiveness. How much income the faction makes, how many fac creds they have. It's basically like mega bucks. It's how many millions of dollars and various other things that they've got to take actions with. They've got a couple of tags, and then they've got assets. And assets are like, well, you'll see, they're pretty cool. And then down to the bottom, I've got some notes and goals for each faction. So the first thing that I need to do is assign stats to all of my factions. So there's 3 kinds of factions to begin with. There's minor factions, major factions, and regional hegemons. Regional hegemons are like a big deal. I don't know if we have any of those yet. So I'm gonna split up everybody into minor and major factions right now. So let's take a look at that list again, and I'll go through and I'm gonna assign everybody their points. So Sunbeam Multistellar, I think they're going to be a pretty big part of the game. So I'm going to give them major status. So then I need to assign 6, 5, and 3. So I'm going to say Sunbeam's probably pretty rich. They've got lots of spaceships, so we'll give them 5 for force. And Cunning, they're pretty straightforward, so I'm going to give them 3. They don't really operate with ninja assassins and stuff. So they've got a force of 5, Cunning of 3, wealth of 6. So let's do that again for the Madari Syndicate. So now the Madari Syndicate, these guys are manufacturers and distributors of illegal drugs. They're a criminal organization. I haven't really decided where they operate from, but I know that I want to have Higgs and Randy and the woman that Randy mentioned, Kalaya. They're all going to be tied directly to the Madari Syndicate. So these guys are going to come back over time. So I think they're going to be a major one as well. I'm going to give them 6 in Cunning because they operate that way. We're going to give them a 5 in Wealth, and we give them a force of 3. So they're kind of the opposite. They don't have a lot of big guns, but they operate with a lot of different agents. So I'm going to scroll down. We'll grab another page. And you can see here I've got 2 more factions that I've built that I'm not going to use. So Terra Prime Cooperative, Neogen Cybernetics Alliance. Keep an eye on them. They'll come back later, but I don't need them right now for this faction turn. So let's move on. So I've got my Pfotenhauer Society. So the Pfotenhauer Society, they are a mercenary company. They own several private armies. They have a cache of pre-tech equipment, so they probably have some crazy armaments. And they're going to be connected directly to Jeff's character. So maybe he belonged to the Pfotenhauer Society at some time. Maybe he's got some connections there. I think they're going to be a big deal as well. So I'm going to assign them 653 spread. So these guys obviously force 6. I'm going to say wealth 5, cunning 3. High beam fleet systems. They're space pirates. We'll talk about them another day. Richardson Scientific. Now these guys are small. They're not a big deal. They're only sort of peripherally related to the setting. So these guys have 4, 3, and 1 for theirs. They're just minor. So I'm going to give them a cunning of 4, wealth of 1, because they're just a poor organization, but a force of 3. So maybe they have some defense ships, some stuff like that. Ximenez Shipyards. These guys are a bit of an upstart. They're kind of going after Sunbeam's business. They do similar stuff. They've also got a deal with the Andonians. So they're connected to that little triangle, but I'm going to give them 4, 3, 1 as well. So these guys are going to be force 3, or force 4, wealth 3, and cunning 1. Okay. Now, that's it for my corporate factions. I've divided the factions so that I can keep track of them. The factions are, I've divided them into corporate, religious, and political. So let's pop open my, my Dropbox folder here. Got a little folder I keep all my Asgard Sigma stuff in. There we go. So we got corporate. Let's pop open political. Let's take a look at them. So let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. So again, some ones that we won't necessarily see or need. I've got the Royal Front, the New Victory Fellowship. They're going to come in later. There's our first one, the Andoni Cultural Protectorate. They're just babies. They're brand new to the universe. So I'm going to add, let's say they've got a force. They got that big fleet, right? So let's give them a force of 4, cunning of 1, and a wealth of 3. So we know Andoni's a pretty well-off planet. We've got our Majid Mandarinate. They're little too. I don't know that I'm going to run into any more major ones as we go. So we'll assign these 4, 3, 1 nice and quick. So I remember that Wheat mentioned that they were brand new, they came in and they were controlling the planet. So they probably have an okay force, but I don't imagine them being a big military power. I'm going to give them a force of 3. Give them a wealth of 4, because they control a Gold Rush planet. You know what? I'm going to give them a force of 1 and a cunning of 3. Let's make these guys sort of a bloodless coup rather than like a bunch of mercenaries. And then the royal family of Oninsa. Now, we don't know anything about them except that they're sort of vaguely Japanese themed and they're tied to Jeff's character's background. So I'm just gonna start making up stuff for these guys. So let's assign them. They're gonna be 4, 3, 1. I'm gonna give them a force of 3, cunning of 4, and a wealth of 1. So they're kind of a scrappy government. Okay, so that's it for my political factions. So I'm gonna save my changes there. And I've got one more PDF that I'll open for my religious factions. So now there's only one religious faction I'm going to be using right now, just because one of the job options that they have will be connected to these guys. So I'm going to pop down here, and we've got my New Prophet. So the New Prophet is a Christian movement. They're a Protestant Christian movement. I think that they're a bit like the, let's say, like the Mormon Church. They probably have a living leader, like a new prophet. Go figure. Probably a living leader, some charismatic figure that is in charge of them. So we'll see later on who's connected to them and what information that we learn about them as we go. But they're just gonna be minor for now. Actually, you know what? We don't have that many major. I'm gonna make these guys a big deal. They're a big religious movement. Let's give them a cunning of 6, give them a force of 3, and a wealth of 5. So maybe they're a religion that's like taking off right now. So save these guys, and now we'll continue. Now I'm going to go back to my corporate factions, and we'll go through and finish off these factions one at a time. So let's go back to Sunbeam, and we have to calculate some information about them. So we've got their force rating, we've got their cunning rating, we've got their wealth rating. They don't start with fact creds till we actually start the faction turn. We don't have any experience points. So we know that Sunbeam's homeworld is Asa. That's where Higgs is from. Now, Asa, we mentioned that it was a big ship world. It's like a water planet with a bunch of shipyards around it. So maybe it has some resource under the water. So we know where they're from. So they've got a base of operation there. That's their homeworld. Homeworld is important because when we get to the faction turn, you'll notice that the different factions can only take actions on worlds that they have organization on. So Sunbeam can always take actions on Asa. So if like the Ximenez shipyards land on Asa, they can always fight them. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to spend any extra points. They can always purchase assets, take actions in those worlds. So let's take a look at their hit points. So the hit points for a faction are based on how big they are. So major faction, like the Sunbeam Multistellar, they start with 29 hit points. Now remember, these aren't like, you don't attack a faction. They just represent cohesion, different agents they have, how well organized they are, that kind of thing. A major asset starts with 2 in their primary stat and 2 in one other stat. So I gotta look at this. They've got 2 wealth assets and 2 force assets. So what are assets? Now assets are, if you look at the PDF on the right hand side here, the different stuff that basically a faction can use to fight another faction. So if you look at the page we're on now, force assets are things like security personnel or hitmen or heavy drop assets, zealots. Like they're things for organizing their military force. So Sunbeam, this is going to be their secondary one. So I got to pick 2 of these. So what I can do, I can pick any 2 assets up to the force of the organization. So up to force 5. So we know Sunbeam, they've got a lot of ships. So I'm going to start by looking at force 5. I'll work my way back. And let's see, so I can see they've got options for a blockade fleet. That sounds pretty cool. They've got an option for, let's see, strike fleet. That's kind of cool. Beachhead landers for moving troops onto other planets. Lots of good options here. So I think I'm going to start with giving them a strike fleet. I can see down here what the other, look at the description of these. So a strike fleet is frigates or cruiser-class vessels equipped with space-to-ground weaponry and sophisticated defenses against light planetary weaponry. As an action, they can move to any world within 1 hex of their current location. That's pretty cool. So Sunbeam Multistellar has a bunch of guys for fighting planetary forces. So I'm going to give them that one. So let's go ahead with Strike Fleet. So Strike Fleet starts with 8 hit points. So the Sunbeam Strike Fleet currently has 8 of its 8 hit points. The type is Starship, go figure. Its attack is force versus force, 2d6. Okay, so that's cool. So I don't have quite enough room. I'm going to just back it up here. There we go, force versus force, 2d6. So when I use the strike fleet to make an attack on an enemy, I roll my force against their force and we do 2d6 damage to that asset. Pretty straightforward, like the rest of the game, right? So counter attack. So if this strike fleet is attacked, what do they use? So we look at strike fleet. They deal 1d8 damage as a counter attack. Cool. So they got some built-in defenses. And what's their current location? So I'm going to put them on Asa right now. Straightforward. Okay. So I got to do that again for another force asset. let's. Oh, one thing that I need to do. I'm gonna just put this at the bottom here. Everyone gets a base of influence. This represents kind of your home base. So base of influence is special because you don't attack it directly. You hit the cohesion, you hit the hit points. So if you're not defending your base of influence, that's how you can break down a faction. The type is special. The attack is none. So everybody's going to get one of these. And what really matters is where it is. Counter is none. And its location is ASA. So this will happen on all of them. So if I forget, someone nudge me in chat. Okay, so they've got their strike fleet. That's great. Let's give them another. Let's give them another fleet. I like the sound of blockade fleet. So the blockade fleet, if we read the description, is a ragtag lot of corsairs, pirates, privateers, and deniable assets. Sounds pretty cool, right? So they've got their main strike fleet, which is literally like the glorious Sunbeam multi-stellar combat flotilla. But they've also got this fleet of corsairs and pirates, people who probably owe them money that they can lean on to make attacks in secret. Pretty cool, right? You can't just run around blowing people up, so maybe use your pirates. So the blockade fleet has 8 hit points as well. So that's cool. They are a starship, I think. Yep. They do force versus wealth, so that's cool. They don't attack an enemy's force, they attack wealth. And they deal how much damage for these jerks? They deal 1d6, but they have a star. So if we look at the star, they also steal fact creds from a target faction. So I can imagine the Ximenez shipyards, they're going to likely come under fire by this blockade fleet pretty fast. If the blockade fleet is attacked, they can't counterattack, which makes sense. And normally their location would be Asa, but let's move them. Let's say they're moving to take a look at what's going on in Andoni. So Asa, if I can find it on my map, Asa is 704. So Asa is over here in the Bakhtiar system. So they're probably on their way towards Gunhild. Let's put them in the in this system. Let's put them in the Stasi system. So they're kind of on their way to go check that out with their blockade fleet. So I'm going to put Stasi there. Pop open my corporate guys again. And you can see already I'm starting to get an idea of what the different sort of forces are going to do. Okay, so these are the force stuff. These physically represent Sunbeam's attack capabilities. Now they get 2 for wealth as well. So wealth assets, if I look here, are things like venture capital, an R&D department, blockade runners, researchers, marketers, a bank. They have their own bank. Now I can start there. I know for a fact that our good friends of the Sunbeam Multistellar Corporation they have their own bank because that's what the PCs owe money to. So I'm going to put bank here. The Sunbeam Bank has 8 hit points. Its type is a facility. The bank does not attack. It also can't defend itself. So the strike fleet probably hanging out to block the bank. And its location is at home. It's in Asa. So a bank, once per turn, the faction can ignore 1 cost or fat cred loss imposed by another faction. So they can maintain their money, which is cool, right? As a company that wants to keep its own stuff. So I get to pick one more asset for these guys for wealth. So let's see what else they got. Something about maybe building ships or we got shipping combine. That's kind of cool. Post-tech industry. Let's see what post-tech industry does. So post-tech. I love that lawyers is a unit here that they can use. Lawyers might be good. They don't have a monopoly. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, post-tech industry. They can roll 1d6 for each asset. If a 1, they lose a cred. They gain no profit. Oh, okay. So it's just them selling ships and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put them down as post-tech industry. They make ships and they sell them. Sounds like their business. So their industry only has 4 hit points. They're going to want to take care of that. They have it built as a facility, so these are the shipyards at Asa. You can't attack with it, but if it is attacked, it has its own built-in defenses for 1d4. And the location is Asa again. Cool. Okay, so I've got the assets built for these guys. I need to select some faction tags for them. So the faction tags are... Let's see where my tags... Here we go, faction tags. So I get to choose one of these. So lots of good tags here. Pirates, Savage, Planetary Government, Plutocratic, so prizes wealth, that might be good. Technical expertise might also be good. You can see they all have their own little benefits to them. So I think I'm going to tag these guys with technical expertise. So they build, not only do they build ships, but they build good ships. And technical expertise gives them all planets with a base equals TL4. Wow, that's really cool. So these guys could go to a tech level 3 planet or a tech level 2 planet or a planet with nobody on it, put down a base, and they treat that planet as if it was tech level 4. So really easy for them to expand. That's super cool. And then the last thing I need to do is pick a goal for them. So faction goals are the same as PC goals in that this is how they gain experience. There's some, I'm going to pick just from the basic faction goals here. So let's take a look. These guys, they're a business. They want to make money. I'm going to give them commercial expansion. So their goal is to expand. Goal, commercial expansion. Which means for them to gain a level, essentially, for them to gain experience, they're going to need to destroy, let's see, commercial expansion, destroy number of wealth assets equal to, oh, they need to destroy 6 wealth assets. That's a lot. Okay, difficulty is 3. Okay, so this will allow me to understand better what Sunbeam is going to be doing as they go through the game. So Sunbeam is going to want to go after other wealthy people. It's going to want to blow up their assets, and it's going to want to take their money. Now, they're not going to get in fights necessarily, even though they have a strike fleet. They're going to be using their blockade fleet to jack money from people and use force versus wealth. They're going to damage enemy wealth assets. So these are going to be pirate raids, that kind of thing. They're going to use their industry and their bank to fund their strike fleet and their blockade fleet. They're going to attack and expand. And as they gain levels, they're going to get new assets. Their force, cunning, and wealth will go up. They can buy new things. So if I decide that they're having some trouble with, say, spies, I could buy them a cunning asset when they gain a level. Hopefully all that stuff makes sense. So you can see I'm going to have to do this a few more times. I'm going to keep kind of talking my way through it. If you guys have questions, I'm going to start kind of popping back to the chat. So if you have any questions as I go, just let me know. So the next up on the board is the Madari Syndicate. So these guys are going to be a bit different in that they're driven by their cunning. They're like a secret organization more than a wealthy one. I mean, they want money, obviously, because they're criminals, but they're going to get it a different way. So I don't know what their homeworld is yet. We'll decide that later. I'm going to add a base of influence. So base of influence, again, we know has special hit points. It's a special type. It has no attack and no defense, and we don't know where it is yet. We don't know where the Madari are. So I've got a question about Sunbeam. If Sunbeam Multistellar were ruined or destroyed, would the PC still owe money for the ship? It would depend. Sunbeam might sell their debts to another company. Like if Jimenez takes them over, they might sell their debts to those guys. If they don't, then, I mean, if you destroy a bank, do you have to pay your credit card bills? Fight Club says no. So let's continue with the Madari. So the Madari, they're going to be pretty easy. I'm going to add cunning for them. Cunning ones are my favorite. So I can go from 6 all the way down. So these guys are basically drug manufacturers and smugglers. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to give them, I think, a covert transit net. Let me take a look at what that one does. Covert transit net. Web and area space, the network of smugglers and gray market freighter captains. As an action, they can transport any special assets. Okay, so it seems special forces are a force one. So that's really more for moving troops around. So I'm going to go with something a little bit more crime focused. Let's go with smugglers. It's only cunning 1, but hey, smugglers. Okay, so let's give them smugglers. Their smugglers have 4 hit points. Their type is starship. They do cunning versus wealth, and they deal 1d4 damage. Pretty cool. Okay, so they get to use their 6 to attack. That's good. They can go and steal stuff. They counterattack not at all, and their location to be determined. Okay, so Madari has some guys to smuggle their drugs around. Now we need to be able to build the drugs. So let's say Let's see if there's anything here. I might just go with wealth. I might go back and do the post-tech industry because that, I mean, drugs are an industry. So you know what? Forget it. I got 6. They got cunning. I can't say no to cyber ninjas. Obviously, cyber ninjas. So let's do that. These are the enforcers of the Madari Syndicate. Also, they're cybernetic ninjas. It's gonna be hard pressed to not add ninjas to everything, but try and keep it under control with the ninjas. All right. So cyber ninjas type is special forces. Their attack is cunning versus cunning, 2d6. Pretty good damage. They don't have a counter attack, and they are a cadre of cybernetic ninjas. Very cool. Okay, so let's do wealth. So wealth for these guys, I think I mentioned I want to go with I wanted to go with post-tech industry because then they can use it to generate drug money. Okay, so their post-tech industry is 4. So what I'm going to do with all these question marks is I'm going to let the PCs answer. I'll probably just ask Wheat or Jeff or someone, the next person makes a criminal roll, like, where does the Madari Syndicate operate from? I mean, I really don't care about that. Like, it's totally up to them to just give me that kind of detail. These guys would fit down anywhere. Okay, so post-tech industry is a facility. Its attack is none, and its counter is none, and we still have no idea where it is. And now I can choose anyone of 5 or lower. So I'm going to choose, let's see. Oh, laboratory. Yeah, laboratory is cool. Drug labs. So they got kind of like a space Breaking Bad thing going on. Cool. So laboratory is their drug lab, and what laboratory does is it allows you to purchase assets on a world as if it was tech level 4. Oh, cool. So this is like a way to get the same technical expertise that they had, without having to buy it as me set it as their tag. Cool. Okay. So laboratory, their labs protected by cyber ninjas, is a facility. No surprise there. It doesn't have an attack and cannot defend itself, and we don't know where their labs are yet. Okay, cool. So I'll pick a tag for these guys, and then I will pick, I think this one was pretty easy. I'm going to go with either secretive or, yeah, let's go with secretive. Okay, so these guys are secretive, which means whenever asset is destroyed, gain 1 fact cred. Cool. Okay. And then I'm going to give them a goal. And these guys, I think that they're going to want, you know, that money is good, but I think these guys are going to want influence. So let's make their goal. Let me scroll back through here. Here we go. Expand influence. Okay, so they just need to plant a base on a new planet. Difficulty 1. Cool. Okay, so these guys should be able to expand pretty quick. All they have to do is... let's see, somebody's reminding me that I put something in wrong here. Let me check. Post-tech industry has a counter. Oh, it sure does. Thanks, guys. Okay, so post-tech 1d4. Me not reading my own information. Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you. So these guys, they're going to want to plant a base. So they'll probably send in their cyber ninjas, chop up the people that are there, and then they can plant a new base of influence, and they'll gain experience. Pretty straightforward. I just got to figure out where they are. So what I'm going to do real quick, because it looks like I added some stuff wrong, or I put it in the wrong field. I'm just going to go back and do a quick. Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you, Gokwan. Boop. There we go. Okay, so secretive. Oh, that gives them stealth. Stealth is awesome. That makes way more sense. Good catch. And let's take his counter, or scavenger. Awesome. Okay, great. All right, so I've got Madari out of the way. So let's move on. Skip through Neogen, skip through Terra Prime. Pfotenhauer. Okay, so Pfotenhauer are a bunch of mercenary badasses. These are some dudes that they're Their job is hiring out to other organizations, other places in the galaxy, other factions that need them to basically bust heads. So let's start somewhere different. Let's start at the tag this time because I think I know what I want to do with these guys. They are a mercenary group, which surprises no one. So I'll dump that in here. And mercenary group, everybody gains a special action, and they're able to move around. So I don't need to buy these guys a special transport fleet or worry too much about that. Very cool. So they have lots of ability to get around. I'm going to add, hit points for these guys. And before the game, obviously, I'll go through all this stuff and make sure I did it right. But I want to keep moving for the sake of keeping everyone from getting bored. All right, so they're a mercenary group. That's cool. Let's build some assets for them. So these dudes, again, I don't know where they are. I'll probably ask Jeff to tell me that, and then I can add this in. So stars for both of these. Special. Stuff in. So base of influence, everybody has at least one. They'll expand as we play the game. All right. Sorry guys, just 1 second. There we go. Okay. So we've got a mercenary group here. They've got hit points. I'm going to buy them 2 of each of force and wealth. So force, grav tank formation. That sounds cool. But we mentioned that they have pre-tech equipment. So pre-tech infantry sounds pretty good to me. So let's read about what pre-tech industry does, or pre-tech infantry. So pre-tech infantry allows elite troops kitted out in the best pre-tech weapons and armors. Yeah, so just good stats. That sounds about right. So pre-tech infantry. No wonder these guys are so scary. So pre-tech infantry gives them 16 hit points. Holy crap. They are a military unit. Military unit. Okay, that's cool. Their attack is force v force for 2d8. I would not want to be on the wrong side of these guys. They deal 2d8 plus 2 damage if they're attacked, and they're probably out kicking ass in space somewhere. Okay, so that's cool. I've also sort of pre-decided for the Photonhour Society that these guys have beachhead landers. Though now that I took Mercenary Group, I might not want to. Let's take a look. Beachhead Lander allows you to move any number of assets on the planet within 1 hex at the cost of... no, they don't need Beachhead Landers. They've got Mercenary Group. So I am going to give them some other really cool way of destroying their enemies. Let's give them... What does heavy drop assets do? Any non-starship can be moved. A lot of these are for moving around, so I don't really need those. I'm going to give them... Let's give them Hitmen. Because why not? So Hitmen give these guys... They're just small. They got 1 hit point. They are a military unit. But this is why I gave them Hitmen. They do force versus cunning. So if they're being attacked by someone like the Madari Syndicate, they can't fight back with their infantry. Right? The Madari act in the background. So what'll happen is that the Hitmen will go after those Madari instead. These are the like undercover guys. So if the Hitmen are attacked, they have no cover. They're just small. They're cheap too. So if they get wiped out, I can buy more with fat creds later. So pretty cool. So they got their infantry, they got their Hitmen, but now they've also got some wealth. So I'm gonna buy them some wealth assets. So they get 2 assets because they're a 653, and they're up to wealth 5. So these guys are business too. So let's give them some lawyers. Because man, if you run a mercenary company, you got to know you need some law on your side. So we'll give them lawyers. So their lawyers are 4 hit points apiece. Yeah, 4 and 4. There you go. They are a special forces, I think, for lawyer. Special force lawyers. Okay, they do cunning v wealth. And they do 2d4 damage, so if they want to attack... Like, these guys are really well-rounded. They've got the ability to attack. Like, their lawyers aren't the strongest, but they can at least attack other enemies' wealth, so that's cool. If you attack the lawyers, they counterattack with 1d6 damage. And we don't know their location. Okay, so that's cool. Um, there we go. And then they need one more wealth. Let's give them. They don't need a way to get around. Let's give them. See what franchise does. Franchise. No, you know what? Let's give them marketers. I want them to be able to sell their services. All right, so they've got a marketing team. So that you're going to see like commercials for the Pfotenhauer Society and like recruitment campaigns and stuff for them, which is pretty cool. It's also going to give me an idea of how to portray them between different sessions. Now, I could give them mercenaries if I wanted to. Someone mentioned that in chat, but they are mercenaries, right? Like they don't hire their own. If someone else hired some Pfotenhauer guys, I could give them mercenaries instead, right? So their marketing team is going to be of 8 hit points. Scroll away here. 8 hit points. They've got the ability, their tactics type. They do cunning versus wealth, another way to attack their enemy's wealth because they are a business after all, not just like a pirate fleet. And they have no self-defense. So what marketers do for them in the faction turn is test cunning versus wealth against a rival. If successful, the target faction has to pay half the asset's purchase cost rounded down or become disabled. So if the Midari Syndicate are going after them with cyber ninjas, they can market down the cyber ninjas. They can put them on lock. They can reveal them and be like, no, you can't come after us, which is pretty cool. Part of my job is going to be developing how the fiction of these work. Like if Pfotenhauer attacks, I don't know, Sunbeam with their pre-tech infantry, I'm gonna have to describe where that fight is, what happened, but only from the perspective um, of their exposure to it through the Newsnet. I'm really enjoying having you guys proofreading my stuff for me, so I don't have to go back and fix it. Okay, cool. All right, Pfotenhauer is done. They're good. What's next? Sunbeam, Midari, Pfotenhauer, Richardson. There they are. Okay, so Richardson. These are guys we've seen very briefly. We already know their homeworld is Andoni, but it's not actually the same planet. It's Gunhild 8, I believe. Gunhild 8. And it's on the moon. It's on the third moon. So Gunhild 8C. They've got a research base there. You'll remember that this is Dr. Seckler's research organization. So let's look at the tags. These guys maybe technical expertise. They're not a psychic academy. They're definitely not warlike. They're not a eugenics cult or a perimeter agency. They're not colonists. None of these fit great. But they're pretty scrappy. So yeah, let's give them scavengers. So they're just like a little guy. We'll give them scavengers. Maybe they make do as best they can. Now they've got less hit points because they're a minor faction, so they only have 15 hit points. They're a little less cohesive. And for their assets, they only get one of each. So they'll get one cunning, one force. So let's see if they have like researchers or something for that. So cunning up to 4. Covert shipping, stealth, lobbyist. Lobbyist is kind of cool. Oh, I gotta give him a base of influence. You guys take a look at that list for me while I'm typing this in. What do you think the Richardson Scientific Society should have for their one cunning asset? No counter, and their location is Gunhild 8C. That's a 7. There we go. Okay. All right, chat, what do you think? The chat is reminding me the mercenary group doesn't have a goal. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. So let's give them a goal. Their goal is going to be probably either commercial expansion or blowing up an enemy. So let's take a look. They're going to need a goal. Let's say their goal is... Oh, planetary seizure would be cool. They want their own planet. Nah, blood the enemy. Let's take blood the enemy. They want it, so they want to prove themselves to the sector at large. So blood the enemy. So that means they need to inflict a number of hit points on an enemy faction damage equal to total force, cunning, and wealth. So they got to deal lots of damage, but they don't actually necessarily have to kill anybody. So that's a good start. Okay, fix these spacing errors from my PDF. Save, and away we go. Okay. So Richardson Scientific Society assets. They look like they are going to need. Let's see. Anybody have any good one for me? Probably. Let's see. Covert. Some kind of covert shipping, maybe. Medical center. They're not really a medical. Let's just give them a. Let's see. They don't get. Oh, I'm looking at wealth. What am I doing? Cunning. Here we go. All right. Party machine. No, they're not political. Vanguard cadres, tripwire cells. This is all ninja stuff. Covert shipping, so they can move stuff around covertly. That might work. Saboteurs might work. You know what? I think these guys are going to be legit. I'm going to give them lobbyists. So they get lobbyists because they have a tie to the Andoni government. They're not on the outs. So their lobbyists have 4 hit points. Their type is Special Forces. Ooh, Special Forces. They don't deal damage. They do Cunning versus Cunning, and they do Special, and then they counter with nothing. So let's look and see what their special trait is. So these lobbyists. When a rival faction gains permission to buy an asset or transport, they can immediately make a Cunning test to withdraw permission. Ah, cool. So these guys kind of protect their system. That's cool. I like that. Okay, so they can kind of influence who comes in and out, which is perfect because we've already seen Dr. Seckler had she had a pass to get the PCs onto Andoni and back. It didn't work 100%, but very cool. Okay, cool. So they have access to some of the government mechanics. Okay, so let's do their next one. They get one more in their another asset. So I'll give them a force asset. Maybe got some self-defense because they're poor suckers. So I'm gonna just give these guys see up to 3 zealots. Not great. A cunning trap that might be good. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give them a cunning trap. So they have some kind of defense, so that the first time they're attacked, the trap will go off and defend them. So maybe it's some kind of like post-tech weapon or like something like that. Cunning trap is a tactic. Yeah, that makes sense. It is cunning versus cunning. Oh, that's good. Even though it's a force, and it is 1d4 plus 1 damage if you. No, I'm totally looking at the wrong thing. Cunning trap has none. Doy. All right. The counter is 1d6 plus 3. That's more likely, and their trap is on Gunhild with them. Okay. So these guys are little. Let's give them a goal, and we will move on. So the Richardson Scientific Society, I think that they want to. They don't want conquest. They don't want commercial expansion. They don't want an intelligence coup. They don't want planetary seizure. Maybe they want to expand their influence. Maybe they want to expand to Andoni. Maybe they want to get their home planet back. Yeah, that sounds good. So I'm gonna put a goal for them to expand influence. Or do we want to do planetary seizure? No, they don't want a seizure. They just want to put a base on Andoni. So put a base on. They liked it. They want to put a base on it. Difficulty is 1. Okay, so they're going to have to use their lobbyists to do this. It's going to be pretty tough for them. I'm into it. Okay, cool. Someone is requesting that the trap is sharks with lasers attached to their heads. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Fits better for Asa, but we'll see when we get there. All right, so scrappy little Zimenez shipyards. So these guys, I'm going to put them in the Andoni system too. They are not on the planet itself, so I'm just going to put Gunhild system, and I'm going to note that they are they have a fleet. So these guys don't have a base. Their base of influence is just them flying around. It's a bunch of ships. Maybe they're in the asteroid field in this system. I don't know why I always keep putting 4 for those. So their base of influence, they have none. Their type is none, no attack. I guess it's special. No attack, yada, yada, yada. We know about this. Okay, none, and Gunhild, system. Okay. All right, so Ximenez, I'm going to give them the same, maybe the same tag as I gave Sunbeam. But they're going to have a different goal, I think. So these guys, they're going to have technical expertise. Okay. Oh, somebody in chat is complaining that my GM session is streamed at a terrible time. I'm really sorry. I'll put it up as a VOD. You can always watch it if you miss it. I know middle of the day, Sunday is not always the best time for this stuff, but it's when I have free time because, as you will find out, I'm going to be streaming like crazy in the next little while. So lots of roleplay to do. All right, so Ximenez, they're not great. That's why they've allied with the Cultural Protectorate, because they need a way to help them fight their new enemies at Sunbeam. So let's give them some assets. They get 2. They get 1. I'm going to give them 1 force and 1 wealth. So their force assets can be up to 4. I'm going to give these guys a strike fleet as well, so they can fight. So that'll be useful. So 8 and 8. Strike fleet is a starship. Attack for the strike fleet is force v force, 2d6, 1d8 counter, and location is Gunhild system, just like everything else. So these guys better get their shit together because Sunbeam Multistellar is on the way. So they get 1 more wealth asset. So a wealth asset for these guys can be up to 3. They get post-tech industry. It's kind of boring to make them exactly the same. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to give them local investments because they're invested in the Andonian government. That makes sense, right? Local investments. Maybe they don't even have any ships left. Maybe they sold them all to Andoni. So local investments gives them 2 hit points. It is a facility. If it attacks, it's wealth v wealth, 1d4 minus 1. I mean, I think you can just look from the stats who's going to lose this fight, if there is one. And I'm going to write down their counter here. If you attack local investments, there's nothing. But local investments will allow them to... Any other faction that tries to buy an asset on that planet will have to pay extra fat creds. That's cool. So now they can siphon money from Andoni, which is funny because Andoni's not really their enemy, but this is how they're going to make money. Very cool. Okay, so that's it for Ximenez. Ximenez is finished. Are we done with corporations? Yeah, we totally are. Okay, those are my corporations. We've got the Ximenez Shipyards, the Richardson Scientific Society, the Fotenhauers, some other mystery ones, the Midari, and Sunbeam. So let me save. Okay, save that, and let's get the corporations out of the way. And let's pull up political. There we go. Okay. So 2 I'm not using. And here's our Andonian Cultural Protectorate. So they have a base of influence, just like all the others. So mechanically, political. I don't have a goal for Ximenez. Thank you. Jumping ahead of myself here. I'm just so excited. I want to get to my turn. Character creation is boring. Character creation is fun. Someone also mentioned that the Syndicate doesn't have a goal. They totally do. They want to expand their influence. Fotenhauer. Yeah, Richardson has a goal, but Ximenez doesn't. Okay, so Ximenez, let's give them a goal that's a little bit easier for them to accomplish, something they can do with their local investments. I'm going to pit them against... You know what? I'm going to give them Planetary Seizure. So these guys are bad friends. Take control of Andoni. So they want to become the planetary government of Andoni. Difficulty is equal to The average of the current ruling faction's force, cunning, and wealth. So that is, I go to political, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, divided by 3, 2, I guess. 3, 2, yeah, 2. Okay. All right. So the difficulty is 2 because they're not actually, they're kind of a pushover. So I'm gonna make it 2. Doesn't say whether I should round up or down, so I'm gonna put that here. Folks in chat who are still telling me I need a goal for the syndicate, unless you're referring to some other faction I don't know about, they totally have one. The Fotenhauers also. Let's do a quick review of my corporations, just so everybody's all caught up. So Sunbeam wants to expand commercially. The Midari want to put a new base on another planet. The Fotenhauers want to just beat some people up. The High Beam Fleet, we don't know about them yet. Ximenes wants to siege control of Andoni. Oh, it's half the average, so it's only 1. Cool, that'll be easy, but it's not worth that much. And then Richardson wants to put a base on Andoni. Cool, okay. Yeah, fifth barrier, it's 2.6 or whatever divided by 2. It's supposed to be pretty easy. And the secretive effect on the second faction, I did change it. It's okay. Thanks, guys. You got it. Okay, so I'll get around to it, to doing a full check of these afterwards. So, okay, so let's pull up and continue. Otherwise, I'll never get to my my turn. So the Andoni Cultural Protectorate, they're I already tagged them. They're the planetary government, which means for them, they get to do a bunch of free stuff on Andoni, and it's harder to attack them, I think. Yeah, so they can restrict permission for people buying things on that planet. Okay, so they got a base of influence, just like everybody else. They've got no attack. Yes, thank you for your vigilance, everybody. I appreciate it, because otherwise I'd be fixing this crap myself. They have a 15 for their hit points, and they get 1 asset of force and 1 asset of wealth. So, let's see. For their force asset, now we know these guys have a blockade fleet, so let's see if they can afford the blockade fleet. Oh, they can't. Sucks for you, Andoni. So they can't use it as a blockade fleet. They have ships, but they're not going to fill that purpose. So let's give them. Let's see what other starship ones they have. I think Strike Fleet will have to do. Okay, so Andoni has a Strike Fleet. Now, you know what? Maybe we don't want to give them. Maybe we don't want to give them a fleet at all. Maybe they just use it to scare people. Maybe they haven't gotten a handle on how it works, which seems cooler to me. Let's look at what they have for force. Let's see if there's anything to represent their planetary guys. So post-tech infantry doesn't seem like it really fits. Extended theater, no, they're very home focused. Cunning trap, counter intel. Counter intel might be cool. Zealots. I'm gonna go with zealots. A whole bunch of fascist, anti-alien, anti-other planet jerks. All right, so the Andonian special forces. These are their Sturmtruppen. So the zealots are special forces. They have an attack of force versus force of 2d6. They have a counter of 2d6. And they are on Andoni. All right, the Zealot Corps. Ugh. Bunch of jerks. Okay. They also get a wealth asset. So, let's take a look with wealth. Post-tech industry, that's boring. Labs, surveyors, union toughs, freighter contract. What do harvesters do? Oh, roll a d6, gain a fat cred. Natural resources of the world. Yep, they're going to have harvesters. Kind of boring, but not everybody gets cyber ninjas. All right, so their harvesters have an HP of 4 and 4. So what you can see is, like, as I'm doing these, the harvesters, you could attack them, right? Like, another faction, like the Fotenhauer Society, could bombard them from space with their strike force and blow up their harvesters. They could stop Andoni from being able to feed themselves. So scary, but kind of cool. And that would be a way of Photonhour to be like, hey, guess what? I'm awesome. We can blow you up and destroy your ability to make food at any time. That's for you. We're out. Right? It's I'm gonna have to decide what everybody is doing on their faction turn, and we'll cover that in the next bit. So I'm gonna finish these up, and then we'll get to my faction turn. So harvesters, they have a type of facility. They have no attack because you don't attack someone with a tractor. Um, they have a counterattack of 1d4. I really want to make a don't make friends with salad joke here somewhere, but I can't. So. All right, harvesters and zealots, well defended planet with a bunch of spaceships that do not do shit. Cool. I can't wait to see these guys and the other factions get in a fight. All right, so I've got some more political factions. Now, I know less about these other factions than I do about the ones we're looking at now. For example, the Majid Mandarinate. These guys, they're mandarins that have taken over control of Vafai 5 of Majid. They're the planetary government there, just like the royal family of Oninsa, these other ones. And the problem is here is that these guys, they don't actually really own the planet. They've just come and taken over. They run the bureaucracy. The planet is kind of a Wild West frontier. There's a gold rush. Wheat was taking it really, really literally when I said gold rush, but what it's probably is more like uranium or some kind of like space money. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I forgot the goal of Andonia. Thank you, Failpatchy One. All right, so Failpatchy One, this is for you. Their goal is going to be the Andonians. They want to get rid of their enemies. They want to block the system. They don't have rivals. Invincible Valor, Intelligence Coup. I am going to give them... Let's give them Peaceable Kingdom. Now, this is a weird interpretation, right, of a goal, because Peaceable Kingdom usually means that they want to not attack other people. They want to be seen as peaceful. But this is really more they want to defend themselves. They don't want to be attacked. So they're going to be using diplomacy to try and Peaceable Kingdom themselves. So Peaceable Kingdom, no attacks for 4 turns. All right, let's see if they can do it. They're going to get attacked, but if they don't attack anybody else for 4 turns, they'll gain a level. It's difficulty 1. Cool. Thank you for reminding me. Back I am. All right. So these two, Majid Mandarni. Let's get these guys sorted out. So they've got 15 hit points, just like the rest. They have a base of influence on Majid, and so these ones are a little harder for me to kind of envision because I don't have a context for them yet, aside from their being tied to the character's background, which is okay. Part of role-playing is figuring stuff out as you go. So, you know, we'll figure it out. Do you think these guys they're gonna focus on their homeworld, and we'll build out from there? So let's grab them some assets. I don't need to do a tag. I already know what planetary government does. They get 1 each of wealth and cunning. So wealth, I'm going to give them... These guys are going to be sneaky. I'm going to give them guerrilla populace. So they have agents amid the populace keeping control. They roll through bureaucracy, which is cool. So I'm going to give them, guerrilla populace. That's a military unit. You know what? Guerrilla populace does force versus cunning. That's not going to work for these guys. I need something that's a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more like in control. So let's see. They've got a monopoly on this planet. I need to give them a... No, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong thing. I don't need to give them force. I need to give them, they get a wealth one first. Yeah, these make a hell of a lot more sense. I could take monopoly. That makes sense. What else we got? Mercenaries, freighter contract. Nah, Monopoly. Monopoly's cool. They have all the Vespine gas. All right. So I'm gonna ask. I'll ask Wheat next time we play if I can remember what their Monopoly is. What do they have? So wealth versus wealth, 1d6 damage. They counter with 1d6, and the location is Majid. All right. There we go. It's like yelling at a TV. Thanks, guys. Okay. Um, so what else we got? All right, they got their wealth and they need a cunning. So cunning of 3. Well, look, I could give them cyber ninjas again. I'm not going to give them cyber ninjas. So they need something to protect. Remember, they need something to protect their system. They need something to protect their monopoly, but they don't do it with force. So they do. Let's see, what would work? Saboteurs is kind of cool. Ooh, blackmail. Maybe they know something. Covert shipping might be good. False front. What do informers do? Let's see informers. Any successful cunning versus cunning, all stealth assets. Ooh, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna give them informers. So informers will protect them against the Majid, sorry, the Majid, the Madari Syndicate, because remember the Madari they're all stealth. So these informers can be like, oh, actually, Mandarin, there are cyber ninjas on our planet. Go and deal with them. Now that is something I like. So I'm gonna give them informers. So informers has hit points of 3. They are a special force. They do cunning v cunning and special, and if they are attacked, they don't have a counter. All right, so you'll notice that because these guys are so small, they don't actually have a way to fight anyone. They can reveal stealth, and then likely they'll try and buy them off. Could be interesting. We'll see how the Mandarinate works. So now the royal family of Oninsa. Oh no, I need a goal for these guys. Look at me, I'm learning. I'm learning not to forget things. For the goal for these guys, I think they just want to seize more control. They want to expand. So let's give them a goal of commercial expansion. Nice and straightforward. They want to use their Vespian gas to buy more things. Okay. Commercial expansion. Destroy. Oh, yeah, they can use their monopoly. All right, destroy wealth assets equal to 4. Difficulty 2. Perfect. Cool. So they're going to be using their monopoly to strong arm everybody else. Ah, hell. Thanks a lot, Acrobat. My Acrobat closed. I'm going to cry. Not really. Good thing I saved. Give me a second, everybody. Sorry about that. Pop open my Dropbox here. Did it save? Oh, thank God. Okay, awesome. All right, just pop open the rules. Let everybody take a look at my Windows thing here. No, fine. Be that way, Windows search. Don't worry, I save pretty compulsively. Games PDF. Should have stars in here somewhere. There she is. Okay. Well, this stream not brought to you by Adobe. Thumbs up, Adobe. Okay. Royal Family of Oninsa. Now, again, we know next to nothing about them except that they're sort of Japanese-inspired, they're a minor faction, and they have control over the planet of Oninsa. So I can say base of influence. I can say all that stuff, because that doesn't really matter. Special, none. I'm going to write a goal here just so I remember it, and we'll come back. Okay, so they're a planetary government. They're pretty high cunning, fairly high force. I'm going to fill in just some stuff that I think seems cool, and we'll go from there, I guess. Let me find my factions. Here we go. Okay. So I don't know anything about these guys, so I'm just going to pick something from cunning that seems useful for being a planetary government. They're cunning 4. Oh, party machine. All right. So despite what it sounds like, party machine is not a machine for partying. It's the operations of a political party. Political blocks controlling cities or regions in control of a faction. So pretty straightforward, this one. So party machine of Onin. So they literally control the government. Makes sense, right? So the party machine provides 1 fact grid to its owning faction every turn. So I'm going to make a note here. Okay. All right. So the party machine has 10 hit points. Pretty strong. It is a logistics facility. It has an attack of cunning versus cunning, 2d6, and has a counter of 1d6. Cool. And now they get a force. So I'm going to give them some ground troops. Give them some samurai. Um, so the Oninsa Planetary Defense Force can be up to Force 3. I don't want to give them zealots. I'm going to give them the elite skirmishers. Yeah, let's give them elite skirmishers. So they don't have that many troops, but they're pretty badass. One thing that I want to do, I mean, a lot of the cultures and stuff in this game are obviously designed to be like cultures from 20th century Earth, but I want them to be different enough to feel like sci-fi. But I also really need them to not feel like racist stereotypes, right? Like, if I had just given Oninsa like cyber ninjas and samurai and like they use bows that shoot energy arrows and they're all Shinto, like that's so boring and kind of racist. I'm not doing it. But I like the idea of keeping them kind of generally culturally inspired. So samurai as a concept, they're not going to be wearing like chrome samurai armor, but they're like elite troops, loyal to their party machine, right? So let's go with these guys. They're a military unit. They have an attack of force versus force and deal 2d4 damage. Yeah, they're okay. They're pretty badass. If you attack them, they deal you 1d4 plus 1, and they are on Oninsa. Brilliant. Okay. Now they can have a goal. So these guys, I think their goal is going to be not military conquest. Destroy the foe? Maybe they don't have any enemies yet. Let's give them... Peaceable Kingdom seems kind of boring, but let's go with that for now. So they're no attacks, 4 turns, diff 1. Alright, cool. Yeah. No, you know what? Forget Peaceable Kingdom. That's boring. I need to expand influence. They want to place another base. So that, for me, will put a target on the back of any system near Oninsa. So Oninsa is... Oh, wow. Majid and Oninsa are in the same system. They're both in Vafai. So I could see Majid and Oninsa getting... Oh, man. Maybe Oninsa wants to go after Majid. Yeah. Yeah, it's all coming together. It's coming together. All right. So expand influence, base of influence on Majid. Difficulty is 2 because it's going to be opposed by a rival faction. Awesome. All right. Political factions saved in case of Adobe explosion. And done. One more faction to go, guys. I only have my religious faction, of which you know nothing, but I have some ideas. So let's go to Asgard Sigma. Let's pop open my religious factions, and I will deal with these. So I've actually got a few. I've got the Holy Family. They're a Buddhist faction. I've got the Great Commerce Guild. They're a Confucian organization. They're really cool, but I'm not interested in bringing them in yet. But what I do want is I want to get started with our New Prophet Protestant Christian organization. So now they need a homeworld. I'm not going to pick that right now. It's going to take a little research. So I'll put their base of influence as who knows. It's the origin of these dudes. Okay, and that's special. You can see some notes down here on leadership and the faith. These come from rolling up the system randomly. So all of this stuff, like these corporations, their names, they started as a random seed. So I'm able to just build these myself from random stuff, and then I fill in the gaps. It's a lot easier than having to roll each one individually. I do it all on a system called Emicron. If you Google Emicron stars without number or stars without number system generator, it's such a cool tool. I wouldn't be able to play this game without it. So if you're looking to GM the game or just want to build your own system, like I built Asgard Sigma randomly, look up Emicron or Stars Without Number system generator. Okay, so the New Prophet Protestant Christian organization, they are a new group. We need to give them a tag. Now, it's really tempting to tag them with like fanatical, right? But that's such a cliche. Like, oh, fanatical religious guys. I'm gonna tag these ones with. Let's see. Let's tag them with something cool. What haven't I used yet? Let's tag them with Machiavellian. So these guys are a political organization. So that gives them a bonus. Oh, their cunning's already 6. They get an additional D10 when making cunning attacks once per turn. Awesome. These guys are going to be really good at usurping power from other people. So they've got 29 hit points because these guys are they're a bigger one, and they get 2 of each kind of asset. So let's give them 2 cunning and 2 wealth, and they can go all the way up to 6 on cunning. Ooh, demagogue. That sounds cool. What does demagogue do? So demagogue for these ones is popular leaders of particular faith or ideology relied upon to point their followers in the blah blah blah. It's perfect. Okay. So these guys have they have demagogues. Maybe this is their boss. Maybe this is the big guy. Their new prophet. He is a special force. So now this is the kind of thing where the narrative of the game flows directly into the faction turn, and the faction turn flows into the game. So if the demagogue loses all his hit points, he dies. So if a Madari assassin kills him, they can't use this anymore. But if the demagogue dies in the game too, like let's say the PCs get a mission somewhere down the line to kill the new prophet, God forbid, sorry, pun not intended, and they kill him, I wipe him out. I take him off the sheet. So this is a really fragile one. He's got a lot of hit points. He's well defended by bodyguards and stuff, but you know, if he dies, then he dies. He does 2d8 cunning damage, and if you attack him, he does 1d8 counter, and he's currently somewhere in space. They also get another one for cunning, which I think I'm going to go with stealth. So stealth allows you to purchase so you purchase it for another asset. I'm going to give the demagogue stealth. That's easy. No one knows where he is. He broadcasts from a secret location on planet Jesus or whatever. I'm into it. I'm into it. Okay, cool. All right. Two more assets. They got wealth. These guys got money. So I'm going to give them. See, a lot of these are like industry and labs and stuff. I'm going to find some that aren't like that. I got up to wealth 5. Let's give them. Ooh, here we go. Okay, I'm going to give them local investments. Check this out. So they have local investments. Their local investments have 2 hit points, just like the other ones. Their facility, they have wealth versus wealth attack of 1d4 minus 1, blah, blah, blah. Oops, 1. They don't have a counter. Nope. And I'm going to put them on Majid. So the Mandarinate has, you know, they have a monopoly, a fiscal monopoly, but the demagogue has placed units on Majid. So there's some investment there in their business. Now they get another one. I'm really tempted to give them lawyers, but I want to give them union toughs. So they have influence on the industry of the system that they're in. I don't know where I'm going to put them yet. I'm tempted to put them on ASA. If fuck it, I'm going to put them on ASA. So they have fingers in all of these different pies. The demagogue has placed agents in the unions on ASA, so these guys are going to come into subtle conflict with Sunbeam, right? Because they've got agents in Sunbeam's unions, so it's a like religiously driven labor rights organization, which could cause some serious trouble. So Sunbeam's got guns, but they have nothing to attack, you know, the demagogue necessarily directly. They'll have to fight their union. So the Union Toughs are a military unit. They use wealth to fight force. Makes sense. And they deal 1d4 plus 1 damage. Okay. They counter with 1d4 damage. And yeah, location on ASA. Cool. All right. So that is almost it. I've just got to do a goal for these guys. What's the goal of Space Jesus? Neo Space Jesus. Let's take a look. Neo Space Jesus and the new prophet Protestants, they want... Do they want to expand influence? Do they want to... Intelligence coup? Sanctuary Conquest, Wealth of Worlds. Yeah, if there was like a conversion one, that'd be really cool. Let's take a look. Destroy cunning assets. They don't have anything versus. Well, they got the demagogue. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do intelligence coup. So they want to gather information and they want to fight their enemy's kind of ideological position. So that's cool. Assets of rival factions equal to their faction's cunning rating. So destroy 6 assets. Difficulty is 1/2 assets destroyed. So difficulty is 3. Okay. All right. So I have goals for all of these now. I have factions. They're ready to go. I got my characters for my faction turn. I'm just gonna pull up my other spreadsheets here, or my other PDFs. So political and corporate. I'm gonna pull open my active factions list. I'm gonna go to the faction turn rules. And then we're going to play the faction turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break for just a minute. I don't actually really know how to use OBS to pause. So I'm just going to take a break from this stuff. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to read chat a little bit. Get some water. But feel free. I'm still here, obviously. So hit me with some questions if you like. And when I'm done with that and my brain is back in order, we'll get back to business. So someone was asking me a question about VODs and YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I tried to set up my channel so that it would record VODs, which would be cool. I mean, I'd like to be able to do that. I don't really know what I'm doing, honestly. So I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm really sorry. I'm also recording through the streaming that I'm using. So I'm going to try and put these up on YouTube. This is like literally, for anyone who's here, this is literally my very first stream. So thanks for coming, everybody. It's kind of cool to have everyone here checking stuff out. Yeah, I'm pretty jazzed. I'm really excited about Swan Song. I got lots of good stuff coming up this week. Steve from RollPlay R&D, Silent Osiris. We're gonna start our new show. Not totally sure what we're gonna call it yet, but it's gonna be about GMing. Starting that on Friday. Some folks are asking about can a corporation destroy a religion? Yeah, totally. It happens. Yeah. People are asking about Oninsa's civil war. Yeah, I mean, it's not big enough for the faction to care right now. Like, if they go to Oninsa, I'll probably build another faction for the other side of the civil war. But right now, I just care about the main dudes. Someone's asking about pre-tech and post-tech. So pre-tech is stuff that was built before the Scream, the big like psychic horror that ripped apart the galaxy. It's like highly advanced tech no one knows how to build anymore. Post-tech is kind of what you got. Let's see. Some folks are asking about how fast will I level the party and how will the quests. So the party gets to decide their own stuff. I talked to the guys a little bit last session afterwards on Skype about what their goals are going to be, but that's going to be on them to decide. They're going to do missions and stuff, but you know, it's gonna vary. If they want to do big, crazy goals like destroy the Sunbeam Multistellar Corporation, like it's possible, but it's going to take a really long time. Folks are asking about mixing armor. You know, I don't know. I look for the rule too. I'm just going to assume it's the best armor you have is the one that protects you. Maybe you get a +1 or something. I'll figure out a ruling for that later. Someone is asking me what I put on my mustache. They've been asking for a while, as I understand. I'm really sorry to have ignored you. 666 Cooley 666. I have a mustache wax that I buy from a place in Toronto called Urban Beard. They do a really cool beard oil too. So if you ever want shiny beard and twirly mustache, you can look through them. There's lots of stuff. Lots of places in America that are probably better for you if you're there, or Europe. But I'm Canadian, so. What do I think of the group? What do I think its strengths and weaknesses are? How do I plan to work with them? I love these guys. They're really entertaining. I think It's too early to assess the strengths and weaknesses of any of my players. I will say that I'm really excited to see Jeff do something a little different. I get the impression that he's usually the shit disturber of the group, the big loud, like, I'm gonna blow everybody up and destroy everything. But Sicarian is a really cool character, and I'm really excited to see him keep try to keep his character on the down low, but also contribute. Like, it's really cool to see people stretching their role playing muscles. Um, Someone was asking me about the form fillable PDFs. They suck. They're ones I've hacked together. I mean, the design is awesome. They're made by John Harper. They're beautiful, but they're designed for a tabletop. I made the form fills myself, and as we found out in the last Swan Song, they're not perfect. I will post on Reddit somewhere what the deal is, where you can download the form filled versions, even though I'm not really proud of them. Um, what else? Yeah, just some general stuff about the rules. You can read it. They're free online. Dig through them. They're awesome rules. Um, if they keep killing their contracts, I mean, reputation, right? Rep spreads. Characters' behavior have fictional ramifications. You'll see some of that in the next session, I think. Higgs might not get away with what he did the last time. Um, Something that I think we'll cover, me and Steven will cover in our GM show, is like dealing with different player types and the way that people behave. I think a lot of people think that it's the GM's job to babysit or to wrangle their players, but it's really not. I mean, the GM's just another player. So there's lots of different tips and tricks that you can use to work with your players to make a story that everyone's doing, like, has fun. But like when a player likes to cause trouble and blow stuff up and go crazy, you got to make the game fit for them and for everyone else within a framework that everyone likes. You know, again, if you're curious about how GMing kind of works, or you want tips and tricks for GMing, come on over to the GM show. Don't know what it's called yet. Follow me on Twitter. Follow Steven. We'll show you where you can check it out. Okay, so I'm going to continue. I want to get this done maybe in the next hour or so. I've got a number of factions to deal with, and let's get started. So the first thing you do on the faction turn is, well, let me talk about what the faction turn is. So the faction turn is what happens in the background of the game. It's happening all the time. This doesn't all happen at once. It just occurs slowly over time while the players are gallivanting about the galaxy. So the sector is big. It's big and crazy. So things are happening, and this is a way that the game can have a realistic feeling. I only make this turn once every in-game month, or every time they finish an adventure. So usually like 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how big the adventure is, whichever comes first. So this is the faction turn finishing the first adventure. It's also the faction turn for January of the year 3200. Okay, so we roll a die, and the number of factions that I have is where we start. So I've got a die roller on my other screen here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll a die. 1 second here. I need a D9, which is why rolling a random generator is better, because there's no such thing. Okay, so I'm going to roll a D9, and we'll see what we get. 7. Okay, so the first faction to take its turn is going to be the royal family of Oninsa. So I'm going to pull those guys up, and let's see what they're about. Royal family, what do you want, and what are you up to? So their goal is to expand. They want to get a base of influence on Majid. So shouldn't be hard for them. They're in the same sector. Let's take a look at what actions they can take to do that. So the first thing is that a faction gains fac creds. So these guys are going to get half their wealth plus force and cunning together divided by 4, rounded down. I'm going to put the math in the chat just so you can see what that is. So wealth divided by 2 plus, force plus cunning divided by 4. All right, so their wealth is 1, so they get 1. So there's a minimum there, plus force plus cunning, so 7, divided by 2, which is 4, kind of. 3. So the 3, they get, yeah, okay. So they get 2. All right, so their income is 2 plus 1 per turn. Because, as we remember, fact creds, they get plus 1 for machines. So the party machine gives them 1, they start with 3. All right, wicked. So the first thing, yeah, we get them their faction creds. We pick a new goal if they don't have one, or we change a goal and lose their fact creds. Obviously, don't want to do that. Duh, that'd be stupid. So the faction executes 1 action per round on as many worlds as is valid. Now, I'm going to open a new text file so I can keep track of what's happened. All right, so we're going to save this one to my desktop. Enjoy all of my desktop files there. We're going to call it Asgard Sigma Facturn 01. Save. Okay. All right. So somebody just posted a picture of a 9-sided die. I love you. Thank you, you nerd. Okay. So the royal family. So they're gonna go first. Aninsa. And what action are they gonna take? Now, if we look at the actions during a turn, they can take 1 type of action per turn, and the actions are they can attack. They can only attack known assets on the same world as the attacker. There's no one else on Aninsa. They can't launch an attack. They can buy an asset on their homeworld or any planet they have a base of influence. They take time to assemble. Only 1 asset can be purchased by a faction per turn. They can change their homeworld. Obviously, these guys don't want to do it. They can buy a base of influence if they already have an asset on a planet. Can't do that yet. They can refit an asset to another one of the same type. They can repair, sell, or seize a planet. Or they could use the asset ability. Now, I think I'm just going to go with buy asset for this thing because they need a way to get their elite skirmishers off world, right? So they are allowed to buy an asset with a sufficient rating. So if I want to buy them a force asset, I can do up to 3. It's just the same as when I was buying them. So let's see what they can afford with 3 credits. I want to give them the ability to land on another planet. Looks like Beachhead Landers is out of their level, right? They don't have Force 4. So, Force 3, they could buy Zealots. I don't need those. What are heavy drop assets? That sounds cool. Heavy drop assets allow the transportation of resources from one world to another. All right, how many do they cost? Oh, they cost 4. I'm sorry, Oninsa, you cannot afford them. Maybe Oninsa should just sit on their butt. Save their money. I could buy something worth 2 and they could get heavy drop next turn. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what they can get for cunning for 2. They could buy smugglers. They could buy some informers. They could buy a false front. Yeah, do we like any of these? You know what? Let's buy them. Yeah, they can't really buy anything. You know what? That seems to me to be a good way for them. That's a good way to guide them. So they need money. Let's buy them some harvesters. So bought harvesters. So 1 wealth asset. Bought harvesters on Oninsa. Cool. Okay. So they got some harvesters. So they'll be able to use this later to get them more credits because they're poor. So there we go. So their facility, harvesters, none. Counterattack, 1d4, and it's on Oninsa. Okay, that's their turn. So the Oninsan royal family purchased some harvesters. Cool. Yeah. Belt-fed Vendetta, that's a really good point. They live on a TL5 planet. Obviously, they don't have the ability to manage that technology. Or it's in the hands of the other guys. Maybe the enemies that are fighting them have all the cool quantum K-beam disintegrators. All right, an instant royal family, they are done. Who's next on the list? Fact turn 1. The Andonian Cultural Protectorate, our good friends, the space fascists. So they are a political faction too. Let's scroll back to those guys. What do they want to do? They want to just not attack for 4 turns. So that's pretty easy. They can't attack anyone except there is that uh, there's that thing. The guys that had the influence on their planet. Anyway, whatever. That doesn't matter. It wasn't Oninsa. Uh, so I'll come back to those guys later. All right. So Andonians, they have harvesters. So do the harvesters do anything? I think that they do. As an action, they can roll to get fact cards. Okay, I'm just gonna bank for these guys. So their income for the Andonian Culture Protectorate. What do we say it was? I'm gonna scroll back. Oh yeah, and I gotta spend these. Thank you. Okay, royal family paid their debts. The income for the Cultural Protectorate is God, this is so much easier having an audience because I never forget stuff. You guys are the best. Somebody do the math on this who remembers while I look it up. Oh, here we go. Wealth divided by 2, so 1 plus 5 divided by 4. Okay, they get 2. Income 2. Donk. They have 2 fat creds to begin. All I'm gonna do is harvest. So let's go back to my die roller, and let's roll. I wish that there was just like a Google like /roll die. If I can get a 4 or better on this, yes, I did. Okay, cool. So they just get 1 more credit. Bang, and I will note that. Andonian Protectorate operated harvesters. Nice. Okay. Who is next? Yes, I did say so. You are the best. Also, because I'm really bad at math. Okay. Next up on the list is the New Prophet. Okay, New Prophet Christian movement. I think I'm going to have them screw with another faction. So these guys, let's minimize that guy here. Pop up my religious factions. And our dear friends, Space Jesus. We don't know where he is right now, so he's not going to be able to attack anyone. I don't want to do that anyway. Let's figure out his... yeah, Paper Cull, they get 1 per turn. And yes, I could use Roll20, but I've already got so much crap up on my screen. Once I get a second monitor, I'm definitely going to do some of that stuff. Tree Lamp, you don't have to pay for the harvesters. They just operate every turn. That's why I bought them for the Oninsans. Okay, Space Jesus. So I could either use the military unit, the Union Toughs, to attack someone on Asa, or I could use local investments to attack wealth on Majid. Oh, before I forget, I'm going to go back because the Andonians, 1 of 4. They didn't attack anybody this turn. Why? Why, Acrobat? I pay for you, too. Bastard. Alright, sorry. Give me a second. It's a good thing I save every 5 billionths of a second. Let me call Adobe. Complain for me. Okay, where am I? Religious. Space Jesus. Alright, Jesus. Okay. Let's see what local investments does. I'm going to jump ahead back to my faction section here. And local assets. Give me my full screen, please. Thank you. All right, so these guys, local investments, they're a wealth, I think. Yeah. They do wealth versus wealth, 1d4 damage. Any other faction that tries to buy a planet on an asset on Majid. Okay, chat. This is your job. Remember, for me, because I'm dumb, if I try to buy something on Majid this turn, when I get back to the Mandarinate, make them pay for it. Okay, so wealth divided by 2. 2 plus 9 divided by 4. Also 2, so they get 4 every turn. They start with 4 now. And, cool. Okay, so local investments, they're going to attack the Majid Mandarinate. So, I got to record that on my fact turn. Attack with local invest versus Mandarins. And was it a success or a failure? I don't know. Let's find out. So for attacks, what you do is select one or more of their own assets, target a rival faction, 1d10 and add the relevant, and then the defender rolls a 10 and adds theirs. Okay, so we're going to roll. We're going to add 5 to a d10. All right, roll a d10 and add 5. So I got, a 10. Awesome. So 15. Okay. And then I got to roll against the Mandarinate. So the Mandarinate's going to defend. So they are a political. So you can see why like having all these like different files can be kind of like I got to jump back and forth. So they defend with their wealth, so d10 plus 4. They cannot defend themselves. All right, 8, so they lose. The attack is a success. So the defending asset, so they're going to attack their Monopoly, and the Monopoly takes 1d something damage. Back to my religious. So the Monopoly takes 1d4 minus 1 damage. So it takes 2 damage. They're undermining their Monopoly. Oh no. Okay. So it's down to 10 hit points. The Monopoly now counterattacks with 1d6. Counterattacks. Whoa, 5. That's a big hit. All right, so the local investments are destroyed. Okay, so local investments have 0 hit points. It is lost. Toast. All right. Sucks for you, Space Jesus. Okay, wow, dramatic turn. Okay, so the investments are toast. I'm going to notice on the fact turn here, just enable my word wrap. All right, so what happened? The investment won versus the Monopoly, counterattack, destroyed, investment. Okay. Well done, stupid. Okay, so the new profit, they just, Space China. Let me double check the rules here. Someone is mentioning attackers roll the attack as a success. If the attackers roll is less, they can apply whatever. A tie. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for catching that for me. So the counterattack only happens if they miss. So let's see if I can. Of course, I can't undo that. It's called local investments. Nice. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, chat, for keeping your eye on me. Okay, so Space Jesus, they attack with their local investments. They harm the influence there, and then they get there's no counterattack for them. So I'm going to build up their local investments again, so they still have them for next turn, and then I'll keep moving with my next one. Counter none. Majid might fight back anyway, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay. For the love of God. Oh, open the recovered document. Well, at least you cover your own ass. I appreciate that much, I guess. All right. I'm getting real familiar with opening these files. Okie dokie. Back to where we were. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to reinstall Acrobat between now and the next time I have to use it. Okay, so the new profit is done. They don't have to spend any of their money, so they're going to still have 4 faction creds. Yeah, download more RAM. I'm just going to double check. I don't have to spend anything on the attack. Nope, I do not. Okay, we're good. All right, so the new prophet, they attacked the Mandarinate. They dug up, dealt 2 damage, and we move on. Okay, so the new prophet is the only religious order, so I'm going to save and move them out of the way. And our next group is the Sunbeam, everybody's favorite Sunbeam Multistellar Corporation. All right, these are the big guys. So Sunbeam, we remember they were moving their blockade fleet to Stasi. They were in Stasi and they were moving to Andoni to go check it out. So let's see what they get up to. they get Sunbeam 3 plus 8, 2, so they get 5. Let me just double check. I think I got local investments. Yeah, they got it. Okay, Sunbeam. All right, so wealth is 5. They start with their 5 faction creds, and they get 1 action per round on as many Okay, so I got 2 choices. I can either do 3 things, well, 2 and a bit things on Asa, or I can focus on the blockade fleet. Now, they want to do commercial expansion, so I'm going to move that blockade fleet. I'm going to start going after their enemies. So let's see if I can move, how much it costs me to move. So let's see, buy asset, attack, refit, strike fleet. Also, chat, don't make fun of my inability to use math. I hate you. I'm a storyteller, not a mathematician. You're still the best, though. I still love you. All right, so it doesn't say anywhere that I can find about, like, just do this, and then you can move an asset. They can buy them. They can expand. They can refit. They can seize. So maybe it's in Strike Fleet itself. Or, sorry, Blockade Fleet. As an action, they can move within, they can move to a world within 1 hex. So let's see what's in 1 hex of Stasi. Oh, they're 2 turns away. All right, they move to hex 506. All right, so they keep their creds. Strike Fleet goes to hex 506, and I make a note. I know, counter exciting, but all right. So move blockade to 506. Okay, all right. So those guys are done. That was easy. They get their 5 creds, and we move on. Next up is Midari Syndicate. Okay, Midari Syndicate. These folks want to plant a base on a new planet. Now, I'm going to need to figure out where they are, but instead of doing that now, I'm just going to, I think they're just going to hang out and build their own stuff. So let's see what post-tech and laboratory do after I figure out their credits. So they get 2 wealth plus another 2, they get 4. Okay, all right, so they get 4 for each one. Tree Lamp asked who they're gunning for. They're just moving to check out why Jimenez built that fleet. There's going to be a big gunfight probably in the next 2 turns between those 2 fleets. All right, so the Midari Criminal Syndicate. What are they going to get up to? Let's look at Post-Tech, Industry, and Lab. They're both under Wealth. So Post-Tech Industry gives them 1d6 for each asset. Oh, so they just do some industrial stuff as their action. And then a lab allows them to purchase. Oh, yeah. Okay. So a lab gives them. Okay. I'm going to do post-tech industry. So they're going to make drugs. So let's see what happens with the space drugs. So for this one, for drugs, they're going to roll a d6 and see what happens. So 1d6, they got a 4. So on a 3 to 5, 1 fat cred is earned. Okay, so they gain 1 fat cred. So they make and sell some drugs. That's what they do. Not really newsworthy. Okay, so they're done. So they're going to use that money eventually to expand their influence, but right now they're just piling up the dough. Who is next? Active factions. Pfotenhauer. Okay, Pfotenhauer mercenaries. These guys want to pick fights. They don't want to kill people, but they want to pick fights with their enemies. They want to blood the enemy. So again, we don't know where they are. So I'm going to just build up. Maybe I'll buy another asset for them. We'll buy them some more infantry or some drop pods or whatever. So these guys are really easy to get around. They can always move within 1 world, within 1 hex. So that's cool. I'm not going to have to buy them anything like that. Maybe I'll buy them some cyber ninjas. I like cyber ninjas. Do you guys like cyber ninjas? Get to it in a second. All right. Half their wealth is 2 plus 9 divided by 2, so they get 4. They have 4 fat creds currently. Yeah, let's buy these guys something. So Pfotenhauer. Let's expand their Let's expand their force, actually. Sorry, Cyber Ninjas can wait. They can buy up to 6 force, and they can afford up to 4. So they could buy a militia unit. They could buy hardened personnel. They could buy a guerrilla populace. And that looks like it. Let's buy them a militia unit. It's nice and cheap. And they can use those against a smaller target when their pre-tech guys are busy. Militia unit. All right. So militia unit starts with 1 hit point. It costs 2, so that drops them down to 2. They are a military unit. They are unity. Force versus force. They deal 1d6 damage, I think. Yeah. You deal 1d4 plus 1 if you miss an attack. And we don't know where their location is. I'll fill all this stuff in once we figure out Pfotenhauer's kind of main jam. So I'm going to return to my fact turn, bought militia unit, and I'm going to save that. I'll explain to you guys why I'm keeping track of all this stuff in just a sec, once we're done the faction turn. Next active faction is Richardson. Was I looking at Hitman? What was I doing? What's happening here? Oh yeah, militia unit's totally 4. Thanks everybody. 4 hit points. 4 hit points. Damage 1d6, 1d4 plus 1. Okay, yeah, I got it partly correct. And then someone said something about the Midari Syndicate needing different number of credits. Let's see. Why does Sunbeam have 5? Midari spent theirs. Oh yeah, plus 1, not just 1. Doi. God. All right, Math Squad. Thanks for helping me out. All right, I'm gonna give chat a second to catch up. Make sure I've got it. 5 credits for Midari. I got it. Okay. They made 1 credit. Did I figure Pfotenhauer out wrong? 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, so 2. Plus 6, 7, 8, 9 divided by 2 is 4. Oh no, it's divided by 4. Yeah, it's 2. Okay, yeah, I got it. All right. Andoni still need 3 income, not 2. What do you mean? I'm so confused. Thank you for taking pity on me. I'll round it up. Yeah. Now you got it. Okay, cool. Well, I'll come back and adjust all these later, because math on the spot is not my strong suit. Thanks for understanding. Okay. So these guys are done basically for now, and I've got them. Bought a militia unit. Don't have an idea where. Okay. Okay. So next is Richardson. So our research guys. We did it, guys. Yes, you did it. Yeah, feel free to point out mistakes if I make them, because I'm not, again, not great at this. I can do all the story stuff. I got all the mechanics down. It's just the math that gets out of my head sometimes. All right, so they start with wealth divided by 2 rounded up, so 1, plus 7 divided by 4, which is another 1. Okay, so they get 1. They 2, right? Income is 2. I'm right about this. Math squad. Military unit costs 4. Yeah, so they're 0. Okay, Math squad. Love you, Math squad. Okay. Tree Lamp asks, can you buy assets on any planet? No, you have to have like a base of influence there. Okay, so Richardson has lobbyists and a cunning trap, and their goal is to expand a base to Andoni. So they're going to need guys to land on Andoni. So let's get these guys some. God, what can I buy for 2? Security. Let's see. Yeah, let's buy these guys some security personnel. Because things are getting dangerous in this sector. So I'm gonna put down Richardson bought security personnel on Gunhild 8C. Okay, I can do that. How much do security personnel cost? They cost 2, reducing them down to 0 fat creds. I can do that basic math. Thanks, guys. Security personnel to protect them. They are 3 hit points. Their type is military unit. Their attack is force versus force, 1d3. So what's cool is that these guys are next. They're gonna have to buy some ships to put these security personnel on. Then they're gonna need to fly the security personnel to Andoni. Then they're gonna need to put a base there. It's gonna be it's a long struggle for Richardson. Um, so their counterattack for security personnel is 1d4, and they're ungunhilled just like everybody else. Okay, all right. So yeah, send the lobbyists. Lobbyists are pretty good. Cunning versus cunning. Okay, so Richardson bought some security personnel to defend themselves from their future enemies. Next up is Ximenez Shipyards. Speaking of which, Ximenez Shipyards. These fine folks, their goal is to take control of Andoni. They've got some local investments on Andoni. Maybe I'll use them to try and weaken the Andonian wealth. Let's take a look at what Okay, because Andoni just tried to get money. Yeah, I'm totally gonna do that. Ximenez is gonna undermine them. So let's pop open. Sorry, this is probably really confusing. I'll pop open Andoni on this side. Okay. Okay, so for Ximenez, they are going to get some credits. 3 divided by 2, 1.5, right? Right, round it up. So they start with 2. Plus 5 divided by 4, rounded up is 1, so they get 3. Right? Get that right? Taking a look at chat. Give you guys some time to catch up. They're going to make an attack anyway. So they're going to use their local investments. So attack with local invest. All right. People asking questions that are not about what I'm doing right now. I'll get to it right at the end. I really want to get through this. So look, attack with local investment. They attacked versus Andoni, and let's see who wins. So the investment, it's wealth versus wealth. So I'm going to roll a d10 plus 3. Awesome. Okay, so Ximenez got 10. Andoni got 11. All right. So they were attacking their. Let's say they attacked their. They would be able to attack their hit points straight up. But guess what? They failed. Oh, that's a shame. So the base of influence has no defenses. So the local investments don't. They don't have any effect. Also, for anyone who has been paying attention, I should have paid 1 extra for the harvesters. So their fat creds are actually 2. Unless Math Squad wants to hit me up on that, let me know. All right, so local investments failed. Failed to attack a base. No counter. Okay. Here we go. Next up for Ximenez. Oh, that's an embarrassing turn for them. The Majidi Mandarinate. So I think these guys are our last one. Yeah. Right? I got everybody else. I should have 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Okay, so Majid. These guys, they came under attack before by the New Prophet Christians. Let's see what they're going to get up to. So politically, bump these guys back over. The Majid Mandarinate, they want to destroy wealth assets, so they're going to use their monopoly. Oh, all right. Andoni got harvesters. They operate. Yeah, so they operated them but didn't buy them. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Remember, I'm a little rusty at this, so this will get faster next time. Cool. Okay, so Majid, they want to destroy 4 wealth assets, and they've got a monopoly, which is pretty strong. They can use to attack their enemies. So they've got. Let's see here. They've got the New Prophet Christians on their planet already. Let's go after them. So because I'm a genius, I closed that, but thankfully Dropbox will let me open it again. So religious. background and move these guys over. All right, so the New Prophet Christians have local investments. It's probably good that I didn't include them because I'm about to blow them up. So the Monopoly rolls wealth versus wealth, so D10 plus 4, which is, oh gosh, they got a 5. Good job. All right, so the Majid in counterattacking got a 5. To defend themselves, the Machiavellian guys, now they can roll an additional D10. Oh, not cunning. Never mind. Okay, so this is wealth. So local investments is wealth. They're going to roll plus 5. Oh, yeah, they trounced him. Okay, so if the defender wins, I think they get to counterattack. Let's see, defender rolls D10. If the defender has a base influence, they can opt to let it bypass and hit the base. If the attack roll is less than the defender's roll, the attack fails. They can apply whatever damage or counterattack to the attacking asset. Okay, so the Monopoly failed. So local investments, I will re-include them because they're not dead. Good job. Local investments has no counterattack. Okay, cool. So they can't counter, but they still exist. So the Monopoly tries to wipe them out, and it doesn't work. They're still there. 1d4 minus 1. Okay. Their type for local investments, their facility. All right. So I'm going to make a note and save this because invariably I'm going to get another crash. Majid attempted to attack Monopoly versus Christians. Failed. No counter. All right, so I'm going to pop back. I'm going to save all this stuff that I'm done. That's it. That's my faction turn for January of the year 3200. I'm going to pop back to chat, and we can do a little Q&A, and we can talk about what's going on. Okay, so people are saying the Monopoly is 10 of 12. Now, they're not 10 of 12. That was actually another mistake on my part, and forgive me. There was no counter on that one, I don't think. Let me double check. Oh no, yeah, they dealt 2. Duh, God. Erase everything I just said. You got me, Math Squad. Okay. So, yeah, I've got all this stuff sorted out. I need to calculate the Mandarin's income. I just realized I missed that. So 2 plus 1, so 3. Okay. All right. Thank you, Math Squad. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna leave this stuff up. We're gonna talk a little bit about what this means because yeah, it's super cool to be able to do all this junk. But now I've got an idea of in the month of January, I have stuff that's happened. Right, the Oninsen royal family bought harvesters. The Protectorate operated their harvesters. They got some food for their people. There was some attacks between the Majid and the New Prophet. Sunbeam's ships moved. Like, there's all this stuff happening. And what I'm going to do now, and I'm not going to do this on stream, is I'm going to move this stuff over to a doc that I have, and I'm going to make a little news post. If you're not already following Reddit /r/itmejp, please do, because that's where I'm posting these Swansong news posts. In the next couple of days, I'm going to post both the faction news, like all the stuff that happened that the players are going to be able to know, because you know, the PCs don't know this stuff. So I'm going to feed it to them in setting. You can ask some more questions there if you want. I'm also going to propose all the missions that they can take. I'm going to do that probably tonight. I've got a black metal show to go to, but I'm going to try and do that before. So I'll put all that stuff up on Reddit. I'll post it on my Twitter. Yeah, and that's how it's going to go. And we're going to get into this situation as we go on. So, you know, we can you keep up with all that stuff that I post. I'll always post it on Twitter, and there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to vote. Basically, we're going to vote out certain missions so that the PCs have less to choose from, and then we'll give you guys some input on what the players do, where the Swan Song ends up. The extra cool thing is that if you visit this show, if you come back every time, visit the show, you're going to have an opportunity to have some of the background information. So you're going to help them do things that are more successful, which is super cool, right? So let me pop over to chat. I'll answer a couple of questions, and then given that it's 3 o'clock my time, and I could use some time before my show, I will take off. But I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let's look at some questions. Okay, so someone was asking, Tree Lamp, did Richardson Science get a bonus from the package? No, not a faction bonus. I mean, the ongoing drama of Andoni is going to continue, and we'll be able to see some of that stuff. Um, so yeah, keep an eye on that, on Andoni and on Richardson. Um, Someone asked me if I plan on getting moderators. Yes, I guess. I mean, I don't. Before this show, I had no idea how many people would show up or if I even needed moderators. So yeah, bots, moderators, all that stuff. Yeah, I definitely will. If you guys come to the show and check things out, then yeah, I definitely will continue to improve the channel. Obviously this is just the beginning for me. I'd like to do some streaming of other stuff. I'm going to be on some other shows, so keep an eye on me. I appreciate that. Um, so let's see. Could PCs eventually form their own faction? Yeah, totally. So they can build stuff, right? They can build resources, and they can have their own faction. And in that case, they'll be able to take the faction turn. So they'll submit to me what they want to do, and I'll tell them the other actions. I will post form fillable PDFs on Twitter. I will post the videos from this on YouTube, and then I'll post that link on Twitter. Twitter is definitely my social media of choice. Um, I don't know what the Swan Song looks like, to be honest. It's bigger than a fighter, smaller than the Millennium Falcon. I'm really hoping someone just draws it for me. There's a thread on JP's subreddit of inspirational art. So if you like looking through pictures of cool spaceships, go check out that link. It's pretty awesome. Ah, yeah, I do have a mod. I have one mod. It's my friend Eric. Eric is my mod Viking. Yeah, chat's been good. So way to behave yourself, Math Squad. My Twitter name is Skinny Ghost. It's at Skinny Ghost. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much how it goes. I'll post a thread for more questions and answers on JP's subreddit. Ultimately, if I get enough people, I'll just start my own subreddit for this stuff. And but for right now, because this is Swan Song, we're gonna focus on JP's subreddit. So, someone in chat, if you want to post, JP's Reddit link or whatever, that'd be awesome. Um, and yeah, visit me on Twitter, twitter.com/skinnyghost. Obviously, you know my Twitch channel. Please subscribe. I'm not gonna be doing videos that often, so if you want information on the subscription, go ahead and check it out. Go to itmejp for the actual game attached to this for RollPlay Swan Song. Follow RollPlay and follow Silent Osiris. The O is a 0. That's where me and Steven are going to be going to do our new awesome GM show. So it's going to be a show all about GMing. It's going to be on this Friday. I'm going to post a link on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, please. I've said it a million times. Yeah, that's how it do. I really hope you guys liked watching me do all my boring GM stuff. I'll post some threads, post some stuff on Twitter. I'm like the most approachable person on the entire internet, so at me, whatever, hit me up. I like talking to people. Cool. I am gonna go and get some shit done, and then I'm gonna go watch a black metal band. If anyone's interested, it's Wolves in the Throne Room. They are awesome. Yeah, and away we go. Thanks for coming, everybody.